Welcome to the Rockhound Podcast. This week, it's just us, but we're going to talk about some rocks and identification stuff. So, Karen, you want to go ahead and get us started?
Yeah. Actually, I think that the guest is the Rock. So, thank you for coming, Rock.
We all have our own guests today.
We want to know so much about you, and yet you're not very talkative. And so, we're going to interview you today and find out more about you. And I am Karen Britt with Ozone Fine Art Ventures out here in Chile, Oregon. And who are you?
My name is Norm, and my channel is The Ethics of Jump Rope.
Ethical jump roping. That's awesome.
It's a touchy subject, I know.
Oh, yeah.
We won't get controversial today.
Just hop on over to Kyle.
This cord can almost be a jump rope. It's pretty long.
Yeah, I see that.
But I'm Mild Kyle with World of Rockhounds, and I'm still going to keep using that until Wild Kyle says not to.
Until he tells you to stab it.
Wild Kyle's going to be like, never stop.
You shall always be mild.
At least until my calendar comes out. So
yeah, and your medium. Wow.
Yeah. For those that are listening, I was not joking, and I might even put some pictures in later, but something happened.
It's something, all right.
Wow, that is so gravid for those who haven't seen last week's episodes. If you are thinking about knowing what we're talking about at all, go back and check out the BJ episode for the Rockhound podcast. And thanks, BJ. That was an awesome podcast too.
And trust me when I say whatever you think Kyle is talking about, it is definitely not what you think it is.
It was, and this is completely out of context, but when Amy said that, because the order was supposed to be here on Sunday, which is the hottest part of our Oregon's heat wave, she's like, do you think that the Amazon delivery man will be very upset to find out that he's dropping off Barbie bikinis and a heat wave? And I'm like, I don't know, and I'm not going to tell him.
They've got to be scratching their heads if packages ever came open.
What is happening?
Yeah, it was something. But really quick, Kurt cannot be with us tonight. He wishes that he could, but he just couldn't. So he is here with us in spirit. So I'm just wishing him some good luck in the comments and show him some love, and we'll see him here in the near future. So we miss you, buddy. Yeah,
for sure.
Any shout outs from the last episode?
My goodness. Yeah. Again, and when I was referring to BJ, that is the Gravel Bar Hopper. And we had a super fun podcast with him last week. So if you haven't seen it, go back in time and check that out. And so we did have a lot of responses from the viewers. One Theo Kellison said that he was viewing from Mordor. And we had Jim Yoni, I think it was Uni. Oh my gosh, my pronunciations are awful. From Iowa, and Shauna from South Central Kansas. Of course, Dustin from Missouri. He wanted to make sure that
we should get him on here at some point.
Yeah, no doubt. And 406, let's guess where 406 Findings is from.
Travis.
The Yellowstone River, to be specific. Jesse did come to my aid. I was having a pronunciation problem last week as well. And he clarified that it was Kalgoorlie. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jesse. So we know where that chap was from last week from Australia. And Martin would love to say hi from Granity, New Zealand, which is super cool. The Greek Explorer is always saying hi, so you guys probably know where they're from. Lawanda from Oklahoma, and she was listening to us on her commute. That is so cool. I just love that. Yeah, folks are, so I guess we need to maybe be more descriptive if we're like, I'm holding up a rock right now.
Dude, that's going to be a hard one for me.
I mean, Yeah. I mean, it depends if my rocks have little bikinis on them or not, because the
Right.
Botryoidal ones, how descriptive do I have to be?
This Botryoidal Halcedony is wearing a fabulous fuchsia.
At what point does it become explicit?
Yes, exactly.
Like, at what point do we need parental advisory off the top? Because I think we might walk that line.
Yeah.
Very thin line.
Possibly could. So thank you, Lawanda and Rock On. Michael from Olympia, Washington was saying that it's hotter. It's hotter than it's ever been there. He was totally crazy hot. And Michelle. And so we had an amazing a group of folks that were chiming in about where they were from, and a bunch of comments on last week's podcast. And Gravel Bar Hopper, make the coffee table book. Folks would definitely be
Yes.
because everybody was like, yeah, that's a thing. I also wanted to ask Theo, you've got a gathering coming up soon. Did you want to shout out about that?
Sure. If you live in the Billings area or just want to come down, you could have the opportunity to hang out with myself, Katie did, Rocks, and we aren't sure yet if Agate Angler is going to be available or not. His schedule is just crazy. And he just literally like a week or two ago had baby number 2. So we don't know if he's going to be able to or not, but 406 Findings is definitely going to be there as well. And it's just going to be chill time of us all just hanging out at the river in Billings, Two Moon Park, noon to 4 on July 17th. And it's just going to be awesome.
Could you imagine? Because I know they have like VidCon and like Comic Con. Wouldn't ours be considered Rock On? Because they're all rock channels.
I was thinking, I actually had this thought like a year ago, and I was talking to Agate Angler about it. We should just all agree to meet up at all get booths in one wing of the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show, because that's pretty much Rockhound's like heaven anyway. So why don't we turn RockCon into the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show, and we all just get booths and have our own wing?
They gave me goose pimples.
Yeah, dude, we got to do it. I think it would be awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Throw down in the descriptions if you think that's a good idea, if you have any stellar ideas like that. And definitely if you're driving on the road, pull over before you tell us that you're driving on the road and listening to us, but definitely tell us where you're listening from.
Yeah, definitely drive safe. We don't want anyone getting in trouble or putting themselves in danger or other people in danger. Drive safe.
Thanks, Kyle.
Gotta cover our bacon as well as yours.
Right.
But any other shout outs? Questions?
Those are, well, we have some questions, but do we want to do like how everybody's week was and stuff like that first?
Yes. Yeah. Karen?
Great week. Our heat wave got all the way up to 81.
Lucky.
That was the coldest day this week. Here in Billings was 81.
I was waiting for the heat to come. I was so excited. Even Tillamook got up to 100 degrees, and I think we were the coolest part of the coast. No kidding. And so that's still on sweatshirt mode, but it was a great week. A lot of flat lapping. I'm working on thin slices and some samples of different rocks. I have a little shorty up about what we are now pretty much honing in from last week's podcast, that it's a quartz, malachite, maybe chrysocolla. Maybe there's some galena in there, also pyrite, silver. It's from a gold bearing mine, some what is it, thread gold strand, what am I thinking of, you guys?
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the name off the top of my head.
Flew out of my head, but I'll think of it probably midway through the podcast and have to have a Tourette's moment, but
just scream it out.
Wire gold, I got it. Actually, that's what it is. So anyways, okay, like disaster averted there. And so anyways, that was my week. How about you, Theo?
Pretty chill. I got out one day with Travis. Finally, we've been needing to go out on a rock hunt together for like well over a year now. We finally got out together and just got into some amazing stuff. Like, it was so much fun. That video will be coming out not this week, but next week. And it was just awesome. But other than that, we tried staying inside as much as physically possible. And I'm still cleaning at the shop. And I did do some faceting on one incredible piece that collectors, if you're watching this, you're going to be very upset with me. I don't have a before picture, I guess, so you can't be too mad at me. But one of my specimens went to the sacrificing block so that I could get amethyst crystals. Long story short, it was worth it. You'll see what I'm referring to during show and tell. But yeah. Actually, for show and tell, one of the things I brought was one of the rocks from the hunt with Travis. So I guess I can. Oh, nice. I have some fresh stuff to show, I guess.
Nice. I guess that leaves me, huh?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So yeah, the highest that we got was 115 degrees on Sunday, and I told myself I was not going to do anything in the garage or outside during the heat wave. I'm like, screw that. I'm gonna pretty much chill in my underpants because I can, and we're not expecting company. But I'm like, you know what? I woke up Sunday morning. I'm like, I should probably do something relatively productive while it's still cool. And so got started about 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's already like mid 80s at that point. And it's ridiculous. I worked for a little bit, and by 10 o'clock, 10:30, I was done. And it was already pretty close to 95 degrees. It was ridiculous. And I did continue to work pretty much through late Monday night, off and on, of course. And I got all my obsidian sorted. So I got that all the way. And I'm sure some of you have watched that video. I would have loved to have, because I know some people want to see like more closer up footage of me sorting this obsidian. But it's obsidian. A lot of it does look the same. And I don't want to have to subject people to seeing, oh, that's black. Like, that has some color. That's black. That's black. That's shiny black. I've considered actually taking that video, the original footage, and breaking it down into smaller sections and uploading it to like a different list. And just so people that do want to watch longer segments could. But I thought about that for a little bit and realized not all of it's close up enough. So I just decided not to. But for those listening, I do plan on doing a more in-depth look of the remaining rocks I still have left to sort. So it'll be more closer up, and I'll do more dedicated videos that aren't sped up. And I'll do just a couple buckets at a time, depending how long the video ends up being. But people do like it, and I didn't think people would, but they do. And I appreciate it. And I know I don't like addressing like some negativity, but I had one particular comment, and I won't say who it was, but they pretty much thought I had went and ravaged the lands of all this rock. And it's like, no, I didn't. Like, I spent years buying this stuff from estate sales, and yeah, it was a little frustrating, but got through it. I have an amazing community that backed me up, and even my wife told me, he's like, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. They can just be cranky all they want. It's fine. But yeah, I do have other videos I do want to put out next week. I've considered doing multiple videos, kind of do my normal Wednesday video, but then have like outside that day of some smaller videos, because I've had people ask me how my polisher wheel is set up, like how it's put together. So I want to have a video for that so people can see how it's built. And I'm going to go into the catalog and kind of find the items that were used for it, or similar items, so they know like what pieces to find if they want to build something themselves. And I also want to do more in-depth video of the different obsidian types that I was finding. I found some really cool pieces in there. I won't cover it here on the podcast, but I haven't seen something like that before. Ooh. It's not fire obsidian. It's like a bland obsidian, but it looks
ice obsidian.
That'd be cool. The best,
which is just glass.
The best thing
just clear glass.
Man, that'd be something. But it almost looks like a conglomerate obsidian.
Interesting.
And so I need to look at it a little bit more closely, but I thought it was pretty cool. I set it aside. But yeah. And then I need to polish that piece of petrified wood because people want to see that polished. A lot of people wanted to see that polished. It's going to happen. But yeah, that's my week.
So was that also your projects?
Yeah, that was my projects too. Figured.
All right.
So,
so efficient.
right? I know. Why don't we all do that? Because that's
Dude.
Well, it's too late for me now.
No,
you
you
go
talking
backwards.
about
your projects now.
Which is reverse. No, I was gonna say before we move on to projects, Kyle, do you have any like garbage obsidian that you don't have, like has no real value and is just a black rock that you have zero interest in?
Are you wanting to facet it?
Yeah, I want to. I'm trying to nap. Jared sent me an amazing piece of mahogany. I think he knew that I was getting into napping because I sent that message out to like the whole world. But it's so beautiful. I don't want to like. There's a lot of waste involved with napping, and it's just such a nice piece that I don't have the heart to nap it. At least not until I get better at it. But it's like, so I'm still at square zero because I do have a beautiful piece of obsidian now, but it's so nice. I don't want to do anything to it yet.
No, I can send you some. There's several large pieces that are just kind of like I call bland obsidian because there's nothing really going on with them.
Yeah, just a black rock. I mean, that's perfect for napping.
They're not pitch black. They're like
that's fine.
I don't even know how to describe the color, but yeah, they're not. It's very rare, at least here in Oregon, to find like a normal pitch black piece of obsidian because almost all of it has some kind of like inclusion in it or like
fancy. All
right.
That's why like my piles are generalized because I can't go through there and just like there's several different varieties of mahogany. There's like a weird pumpkin variety. There's regular deep mahogany. There's a mahogany with black in it.
Triflow.
I have everything generalized.
Yeah. Or burgundy. Yeah.
But yeah, let me know. I can send you some. I can even send you some gold sheen too because I have a lot of gold sheen.
Dude, I'd happily do a trade for some. I've had to just put the napping on the back burner for a while because I don't have anything that's low grade enough to actually like practice on. So I was practicing with Montana agates for a while, and I'm like, I'm just destroying really nice agates here. So we're gonna wait.
Oh, I've seen that.
And agates are so much more work.
Yeah.
You have to heat treat them first, which takes forever.
Yeah.
And if you mess it up, that's like 16 hours down the drain because I mean you have to cook them for like 12 hours.
Wow.
And then you get like 3 or 4 hours in of napping, and then the whole thing just breaks in half, or it naps the wrong way, so you can't continue to dry flakes off of that point. And you're like, well, that was a waste of an egg. Because the little flakes that come off are too thin to do anything with. So
I can send you some other materials that are kind of in the back that might be good for napping too. Just bland rocks and see if they nap. Just for giggles, see what happens.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. I'll send you some stuff in return. I don't know what, but I've got a few rocks at the shop, I think.
Yeah, let me know. Just let me know before my money runs out because it is beginning of the month.
Okay, I'll get on that then.
But what other projects do you guys have going on since I've pretty much covered mine?
How about you, Theo?
I have an amazing project that's in the works. And I unfortunately cannot talk about it yet. But someone watching about this podcast knows what I'm referring to. One of our viewers knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I was thinking about this. Who. I think I know what it is. I was thinking about it last night because I was doing the dishes. I was doing the dishes. I'm like, I wonder what Theo's doing. I'm like, oh, I know what it is. I think I figured it out. I think I know what it is. I could be wrong.
We'll have to talk about
go
this
ahead and tell us.
We'll have to talk about this afterward because I want to see if you're onto it or not. Oh, and that's okay. I know what you're talking about. That's actually not the thing that I'm talking about. So I've got two things going on right now.
Are you sure you know what's in Kyle's head? Maybe you guys are thinking about three things.
I think so. I mean, there could be a third thing I don't know about right now. There are two things for me though, but I can't talk about either of them yet.
I know about the one. I can't even say like anything, but I know about the one.
Right, yeah.
We talked about that one
Say it.
before, but
Yeah.
I have an idea of what your other thing is.
Right.
Man,
It's like,
I hate being so vague.
you
but
both No, yeah, it's like I can't even talk about it because
Yeah, we
it's
probably
like
shouldn't.
I'm gonna be walking a tightrope.
Because it's going to be totally consternating for everybody out there.
Yeah, and they're like, "What is he talking about?"
They're like, "Stop it!"
Well, long story short, there's two awesome things coming in some amount of time that I have no idea how long. If I'm being frank, so I'm working on two things that you will see one day.
So excited.
It's like, oh, the anticipation suddenly ruined.
That's awesome. I'm working on a giveaway. So I've got a 3-part series of videos coming up. One is already out. You can go check that out and enter. And I'm gonna have the last of the footage of our season on the beach.
No.
Although people are still picking stuff up, so you don't stop looking. It's just that our season's over. And then I just decided that it would be super fun to like have like the highlight reel, like all of my favorite, like pick it up off the grounds. And so it'll just be the juicy bits on part 3, and that's when I'm going to go ahead and announce stuff. And so keep an eye out for those videos. I'm working on them right now.
Nice.
So
Sweet.
If you guys aren't subscribed to Karen, go do so now.
Do it. Do it, y'all.
I appreciate that.
What are y'all doing?
What are you waiting for?
Y'all lives or something?
Goodness.
If we can get Karen to 1,000 subscribers, she can unlock her community tab and she can post pictures and keep us updated.
Yay. Yep.
That was like my favorite part about getting to 1,000 subscribers was unlocking that community tab. That was,
dude, same. And then now that I'm at this point, I like literally never do any community posts.
Oh, maybe you should.
The novelty has worn off, and now I just like
Aw.
day before I'm like, here's what tomorrow's video is going to be. Look forward to it at this time that it's always at. I guess I run polls sometimes, but
I think it's a good thing to have because it allows you to reach out to like to the community and be like, hey, hope you're having a good day, or just like I said, random poll.
yeah.
I like those. They're
I'm
fun.
just-
nice.
Believe it or not, I don't know if you knew this about me, but I'm horrible at social media. So it feels like another social media to keep up with when I can just like post a video and then talk with all of you in my comment sections, which I love doing. But the posts, it's like Instagram. I'm so bad with Instagram. I'm even worse with TikTok. I literally almost
I didn't
never
know
make.
who you were. You like I did, like this nice sticks and stones page kept on.
Yeah, that's me.
That's nice.
Because I made the Instagram before my
Theo.
YouTube channel. Dude, Kyle did the same thing when I reached out to him to do the Makers Challenge.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to. And then I like we went over everything, and then like right at the end of the conversation, he's like, so what is your channel? It's like Theo Kellison, and he's like, oh my gosh, it's Theo.
It goes to show how easy I am to say yes sometimes. Like,
Yeah, he was like
cool.
fully
Yeah.
on board long before he knew who I was.
Yeah, one important question. Who are you?
Who are you? Who are you again, though?
I'm a prince from Nigeria.
Yeah. Like, well, I'll tell you. I'm just going to need the last 4 digits of your social.
Let's go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead and move on to some of our topics. So, Karen, if you want to go ahead and take that away.
Yeah. So back to our community, who are so awesome. Thank you so much for watching every week and leaving the comments. So we had so many comments about like, could you do IDing rocks or, specifics on this kind of rock or that kind of rock. And I would say that this is the like straw or rutile filament that broke the camel's back, was that finally we had
That's a lot of rutile.
yeah. Maybe something bigger like a tourmaline. I don't know. Sandmaker, who was checking in from North Carolina, he is moving around.
Right?
Yeah, he was just
It's impressive.
Yeah. So he would like to know what we all think as a group as to certain subjects with the rock identification, like the mossiness of moss agate. Is that based on its shape or the color? Who wants to take that one?
Theo, do you want to go first on this one?
I have limited experience with most moss. I have extensive experience with Montana agate moss, and moss in Montana agates is dictated not by shape or color, but by chemical makeup. So in Montana agates, it's actually hematite staining from inclusions inside of the agate. So it can be any color, really. I mean, I've seen red, brown, black, even some green and blue moss, which is awesome. But any shape imaginable. I mean, mostly just dendritic, those like branches. But I know that Montana agate moss is very different than like a lot of other types of moss agate, like green tree agate, for example. Like those, they're both moss, but they look very, very different. So I guess I don't know what else to say about that. I don't think what I just said applies to all moss. I just know, like I said, I can only talk about what I know, and I know about Montana agates. So.
And the Montana moss agate, by the way, for the community is like super sought after. Like people make such a big deal out of it in the market.
They're wonderful.
Yeah,
they're amazing. They're fantastic.
Yes.
They're like that one agate in the world that has the potential to have every single cool thing that an agate can have, and that's just magic. Like banding, fortifications. Oh, I'm super biased, but they're amazing. I will totally admit that I'm super biased, but they've got like botryoidal pockets, moss, banding, color, like massive color, every single color imaginable. Montana agate can be that. They've got crazy moss that lines up into scenic patterns. You can get fortifications. You can get smoky quartz, amethyst, clear quartz, geode pockets, druzy, botryoidal seams, like there's so much stuff, and iris agate, the big nail.
Oh no, not the iris agate. Oh gosh.
So Montana agates are special because every good thing about agates as a whole can be found in Montana agates. They're wonderful, and I'll just rant about them if someone doesn't stop me.
We're not stopping you.
No.
Kyle is actually.
I've already done one rant in this video.
You reached your limit.
Yeah, that's my one for the week.
I feel like, I mean, I'm going back to what Theo said, but I think every location for moss agate is probably going to have a different chemical makeup of what causes it to have its like mossy effect. Because I think we might even cover the difference between like moss, plume, dendritics. I think that some of the moss agate that we have here in Oregon is caused by copper inclusions because it's green and red, sometimes yellow. So I'm not 100% on that. I could be wrong. So if someone can correct me, that'd be super cool.
Do it in the comments.
Yeah, do it in the comments. But yeah, the Maury Mountain moss agate, it's typically super green. It can be red and orange, but still very, very beautiful material. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think you have some moss agate out of Idaho, I think it is. That's kind of, the moss is more diverse, so it's not like really packed in. It's more spread out through the material.
Oh, diffuse. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it looks like actual moss is just kind of solidified into, let's say if you took like epoxy or resin and just put moss in there, it looks like it more mossy, actual moss looking.
Right.
I don't know how else really to describe that. Then you have a graveyard point, which is more of a plume agate.
Oh yeah.
Which is, if you take a cut off of it, then it kind of, because a lot of that's a seam agate. You have the plumes coming in both directions, whereas the moss agate for like Maury Mountain, it's just the whole thing. It's just like moss. It's like solid moss. And then you have, of course, dendrites, which I'm sure you guys can probably cover that a little bit better than I can, since I don't have any dendritic anything that I know of in my pile yet.
I'm looking at my pile, and I have several dendritics with me right now.
Actually. Right. But actually, the moss is dendritic. And so that's kind of one of the qualifiers for a moss agate is that the way that the crystal mineral that is forming inside the silicates branches out in a fractal pattern like a dendrite. And so they like moss agate is oftentimes a misnomer in the marketplace because you have Montana moss agate that is like 100% agate because it's got the fortification lines, which agate has to have. Then you have chalcedony that can also have dendrites in it that can be called moss agate because it comes out like the Maury Mountain moss agate does. A lot of times you see no fortification lines or anything like that in that kind of agate. And then there's a whole nother moss agate that is actually in common opal, and it's dendritic opal, but they call it moss agate. Ah.
Have you guys ever worked with
That is
or
not-
seen Sweetwater agates?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sweetwaters totally fall into that category. Like they're a clearish agate like this that are just filled with moss. But I've worked and found a bunch, and they don't have no banding whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it's like, are they really an agate? Exactly.
Yeah.
Then why do
It's
we
a
all keep
misnomer.
calling it an agate?
Because it's a marketplace, and that's actually like
absolutely.
part of the thing that we wanted to make a point of this evening is that names can be both really valuable so that we know what we're talking about with each other, and meaning the entire community and the entire world, like scientific vernacular, but at the same time a lot of these things
I like that.
a lot of these things are based on marketplace, and so like ocean jasper is a trademark word, and moss agate unfortunately also is one of those words that it's used in a very, very broad blanket and doesn't always mean agate, and sometimes it seems like it's not even dendritic, so I don't know. So beware as far as when you're going after IDs. Sometimes that's not the only key that you need to the door. How's that?
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah. So like Sandmaker's question went on, hitting a couple different points, and so we thought we'd go over those, and then we're going to go into our wheelhouses. So gem quality, is it about the fractures or inclusions, or color, or what makes a gem a quality gem, valuable?
Theo, you want to take this one off first?
Yes, I will happily. And the short answer is that it's a fully loaded question because it varies so much. Like, because it varies so much from stone to stone. Like, say you've got a deep purple amethyst. Wink, wink, hint, hint, foreshadowing. Anyway, any inclusions or fractures or fissures or anything like that inside of that stone takes down the overall gem quality. Like if say we're just talking about an amethyst, color and clarity are the two things that like dictate that quality. But say, now just run with me here. Say we've got rutilated quartz. Clarity is super important, but more inclusions would actually up that gem value.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can have a 10-pound block of Australian opal, but if it only has one little seam of fire in it, it's not a very valuable opal, depending on how big the seam is. I mean, it's Australian opal, so it'll still have some value, but yeah, that's why. That's a hard
you're not
question.
Buying potch. You don't want potch.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
You want Calabar.
Yeah, exactly. Or like other things too, like color play is huge in a lot of rocks, like amylite. Red amylite is way less expensive than purple amylite, for example. Like purple amylite is very, very pricey stuff. And if you get an actual rainbow, like where you've got multiple colors in one piece, that's a pricey little gem right there.
Mm-hmm.
Or like labradorite. Labradorite is very easy to get your hands on. Spectralite is basically the same thing with just more vivid color, but it, generally speaking, is worth a lot more as well because you get those just ridiculously vivid colors that labradorite just generally doesn't have as much. Oh yeah, that's some spectralite. See, now that's a good piece of spectralite.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's pretty much my take. Like, for example, actually, I have some right here that I'll be showing more. Montana agate, we can actually talk about that too. Clarity is not important at all, but inclusions are very important. It doesn't matter if it's cloudy or not. What matters is if you can see some bands and moss, that's what makes a good Montana agate.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it definitely it definitely varies from stone to stone. I'm not a huge jasper guy, but it has more pictures and more scenic stuff in it, then it's worth more. But if you just go up, let's say if you go to the Biggs Jasper and you get a piece of Biggs and you cut it open and there's nothing there, it's not worth anything. But if you cut a piece and it's just like vivid with all these different patterns and scenic, then it's worth more. But I don't know, it's hard to really justify like figuring out what thing is worth. I've had someone leave a comment like on one of my Obsidian videos, like, "Hey, how much would this cost to do?" I'm like, honestly, I can't say. Mainly because it's every piece of, like, for people that don't know, Fire Obsidian is my thing, and it's really hard to justify figuring out how much a piece is going to be worth, because you can have one piece that's worth, I don't know, $20 for like a small piece. And you might have a piece that's super bright and vivid in color that might be worth a few hundred. So it all depends on how clear the stone is, especially with obsidian. You can get sand pockets in there, so it kind of might affect the price. How bright is that layer? If it's like if you don't even need a light, you can see like the rainbow colors like flashing at you. Oh, price is gonna be way up. If you have like a super dull piece, not so much. So it's definitely like you said, it's a loaded question.
It is.
It can be really hard to answer sometimes. Like, I really
don't
know you.
It's super hard, honestly. But I get that question a lot too, and it's tricky.
But generally, like, because having at least over here in Oregon, like, some rock shops are a little overpriced as far as the rough goes. But like, I know that generally, like, your basic common agates, that you'd normally find in a river, 50 cents a pound. Like, it doesn't matter like really what it is. It's like 50 cents a pound. And petrified wood, $2 a pound. And most of your basic obsidians that aren't rainbow, like, same thing, 50 cents a pound. It's worth what people will pay for it. But it's unless a stone's worked. I think I might have gotten a little off topic, sorry. But yeah, unless a stone's worth, it's not worth much. And even if you have like the clearest agate in the world, and it's like, oh man, look at all these fortifications, like this is like worth $100. Like, no, it's not. On that in the Willamette River, it's
that's the scary thing about iris agates, dude, because like it's like little piece like that had full range of color.
Oh, those are expensive.
I was gonna say, you realistically could have like $100 to $300 agate right there, depending on the color.
And that's different because like you have like something that's like unique and takes a lot of work to even find something like that. Because like you said, it has to just be super thin.
It's super hard. It's tricky.
I still have to see any picture of the rock that I have out back and to figure out if something is worth even for me cutting. But
really quick, actually, we've mentioned iris agate twice, and for anybody out there that doesn't know what it is, Theo, do you want to cover that really quick?
I will send. Oh shoot, you're editing this tonight, aren't you?
Oh yes, I am.
I do not have any here. So you guys remind me, keep me to it. Next week for show and tell, no matter what else I have, I will bring iris agates because I have iris agates and actually quite a bit of them. But so anyway, iris agates form in very, very few types of agates. We are very fortunate in Montana that we have iris agates in Montana agates. So the main ones being there's a site in India where they're found. There's a few sites in Africa where they're found. And believe it or not, Kentucky, I think, Indiana, Wyoming, and Montana are like the 4 places in the U.S. where you can get iris agate. And what that is instead of that, Rookie actually described it awesomely, and it's the best way to put it in his most recent cutting video. They're ghost bands. Like it's still a banded agate, but they're very, very, very fine bands, like very fine. Iris agate happens when there's a bunch, like a huge stack a very, very small, tight, translucent banding. Sometimes when the stone is forming, those like fold over themselves to basically double up and form a refraction point. And when light passes through that, it creates this insane rainbow spectrum throughout the entire stone that is just outstanding. But the catch is they have to be about the same thickness, if not less, than a piece of cardboard for that rainbow to show. And they have to have a glass like 14,000 to 50,000 grit finish for that rainbow to actually shine through all the way. So, and you can have like, there's really no way of knowing. Like these are very, actually probably pretty positive candidates for hunting for iris agate. They look very similar. There's no way of knowing until you get into the rock, unless if there's sometimes you can, but I'll actually talk about that in one of my upcoming videos. So I'll just tell you more there. Look forward to that. Generally, 9 times out of 10, you will never know it's an iris agate until you start cutting into them.
I guess that would almost fall into gem quality, wouldn't it? Because like, you know, you wouldn't know until you start cutting into it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this could be like a $2 agate, $1 or $2 agate. But if this had iris and you cut all of those bands and it had good color play, hypothetically, I don't think this is honestly, but hypothetically, this is like this could turn into a lot of money, and it's weird when you think about it that way.
One of the ways that so an inclusion that we have here in Oregon that is a really valuable inclusion is the copper platelets in our sunstones, and it gives us schiller. But before you go and facet one of them or work with it as far as the lapidary, and for all of y'all that are out there, you know, wondering if you have valuable sunstones, one of the kind of neat hacks that I was told about was to use wintergreen oil, and you put the stone into the wintergreen, and it helps all of the different refraction points, kind of like using oil with a microscope. And you can see it's like an x-ray machine straight into the stone to see if you've got inclusions or anything. And that's what the lapidary artists use to value your stone, whether or not they can cut it, say, into a 1 carat stone or a 5 carat stone if you're sitting there with a lump of sunstone. And so I know a lot of people out there kind of wonder, like, okay, is that an arbitrary thing? Am I getting ripped off? Like, why is this guy telling me that my huge stone is only going to cut a 1/2 carat? And that's one of the ways that they do that. And there are different techniques throughout the different minerals that we work with.
No, my friend in Ohio, like after my sunstone trip, I sent him a bunch, like almost all of my huge stones that I found, and he's only able to cut a handful of them, just because there's so many internal fractures that you can't see just like looking at it. He had to have a special, you know, use, like you said, a special oil and look at it, through microscope, just to make sure that, you know, and he does beautiful cuts, like very one-off, and he utilizes as much of the stone as possible. And but you know, you might think you have like a flawless stone. Most often than not, you don't, because there's stuff you just can't see.
As someone who facets, I can confirm that is rarely the case.
And even like the Australian lattice sunstones, they're sunstone, but I think they're a little bit different. They're definitely more fractured up, at least the ones I have. And again, this goes back to the gem quality. The Oregon sunstones, they can have fractures that you can't see.
Oh, just like that, yeah.
But you can also get some really gemmy pieces, like you can like super clear. Yeah. I haven't been lucky enough to have like super clear Australian sunstones, but the ones I have are pretty fractured up, and they're not really meant for cutting stones. They're more meant for, I think, for cabbing or making like kind of offset like cabs. And sunstones too, like sunstones you can either cab or you can have cut into facetable stones
or carve.
Yeah, or carve. Yeah, so like as far as like fractures go, you know, it all depends on the stone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. lost my train of thought a little bit on that one.
But
Sorry.
we liked
So,
it. We liked
long
it.
story short, yes, that all three of our tangents could fully explain that. Yes, gem quality it's a loaded question.
Yeah.
Loaded
So-
potato. All to fix
It's a
it.
potato gun.
The next fracture on his question was Botryoidal. So are those bumps on the outer surface, round bumps, stalactites or stalagmites, shapes, bubbly? I guess he was having trouble as far as knowing what Botryoidal is. And so anybody want to take a shot at that?
I've always.
Everybody
That babbles.
at the same time.
That just babbles. Sorry.
Theo, I'll let you go first.
Oh no, I've gone first every time. It's fine.
Okay. I mean, I've always called Botryoidals just anything that has like a rounded surface. In front of me, I have several specimens of Botryoidal. I will. I have this cool thing on my microphone that I don't have to pop my piece anymore.
I can't do that.
But as far as like stalactites and your various textures of rock go, I mean, I have some smithsonite here, a big piece. I might have to take a picture of it and put it in, but it's pretty Botryoidal-y, and it looks cool. And I also have some hematite here, a lot around there. Well, that was good.
Ooh,
That was
yeah,
a-
you
that was a good shot
nailed
there.
it there for a second. Wow.
Yeah,
Come back.
I'm trying.
You ruined it, Kyle.
I have to take a picture.
But yeah, that was a cool specimen. But I also have I'd use this one rock to actually hold up my YouTube play button, because
Oh.
it's, check out that, it's like a perfect almost card holder. But I think this used to be maybe, looking at it now, I didn't notice this before. This actually might be part of a coral, fossilized coral.
Oh, agonized coral.
neat.
Yep.
Um,
That's totally agonized coral.
I didn't realize. I just now noticed it, but
As someone who has a piece, I can confirm that is definitely agonized coral.
I almost didn't
Well,
want to show this.
ID show over.
that was it.
But this one's like, it has like some Botryoidal things in it, but if you look close enough, like the Botryoidals are almost like going up.
Yep.
Or I guess in this case, it would probably maybe would have been down, depending on how like this formed. I almost didn't want to show this because part of it does look a little phallic on the other side, but
I'm actually really
Let's
happy
see.
that you did, because I was
I got one
right.
too.
right before we started. I was upset that we were going to be talking about Botryoidal rocks, because I have a really nice Botryoidal piece of agonized coral that I would have brought, but you have one, so it works out.
But yeah, it just goes to show that Botryoidal can be kind of like any shape that's kind of like bubbly. And then you kind of move on from that. This is some angel wing agate that I picked up at a rock show.
So good.
And
Wow.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So
my friend and I
fun.
were actually bidding on this. And I started bidding on it. And then she's like, oh man, look what's over there. So we're actually working together. Like, okay, let's bid on this together. And whoever wins it, I think she cut off some bottom parts of it. So she made cabs. And then I kept this part for the specimen part of it. Because like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was drawn to it. I mean, it just looks cool. So it's like, I don't even. It's like Botryoidal in some areas, but then it's more like a stalactite effect, I guess.
Stalactite.
Yeah.
Might. Yeah. We have a lot of swept looking inner mineral growths that get mineralized over, and we can kind of hit that when we talk about the formation of agate. But you can imagine these like really wispy little wings going first, and then they started to get fortified, and so you have like more of like the stalactite show going on. But yeah, they're amazing. Botrys, by the way, or Botryoidal, is Greek for grape, or rather, it comes from the root of the Greek word grape.
Oh, I just realized I have grape agate too.
Yeah, so that's like straight up as Botryoidal as you can get. Like our grapes here in Oregon get Botrys. Like this, so you don't want to. Like, yeah.
I was gonna say grape agate's like my go-to when I'd have to describe Botryoidal.
Little unedible
Botryoidal.
grapes.
Yeah,
Don't
I
this
mean,
is a
anything's edible if you're determined.
So isn't that weird?
Yeah,
Why did
this
that
is cool,
happen?
though.
It is.
Yeah. So.
I love that stuff. I never get tired of that stuff.
Yeah. Cool caves and minerals. Like you can only imagine the story on something like that, and all the Botryoidal. You can imagine almost like a pearl being formed. Like there's a mineral that starts this concentric ring mineralization activity, and before it's not just one, but which way it's many. And so it doesn't have to be clear like this is some really kind of fancy plume that is from the center of the state that is almost opaque, and this rind is obviously a pseudomorph over that. So anyway.
Well, I feel underprepared now. I have better Botryoidals at the shop, but there's my little baby seam right here.
Yay.
You guys showed me up. It's blue though, so
that wasn't a bot war.
It is. I know. I just brought a big, long, pointy stick to a gunfight or something.
If it makes you feel better, I can retract on mine and just grab a piece of petrified wood that's behind me as some Botryoidal on there too.
Oh no!
I have better Botryoidals back at the shop, so you just have to believe me. I will send a picture of this one though, because it's blue, so it's special.
See? Yeah, mine is just brown.
It's a blue and it's wonderful.
And then wouldn't kind of the innards of fire, I guess, be considered like a Botryoidal, since a lot of it's kind of a bubbly.
I would yes, absolutely.
Yes. There's a Botryoidal growth that gets sprinkled with hematite, right?
Yep.
To create the fire in the fire agate. And so you want to when you're polishing those, you want to go after that color bar on the bot, not just
and
kind of
carve around it. Yeah, because if you just carve it the way you would a cabochon, you'll just grind straight through the color layer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fire agates are wonderful. I love them so much. They're one of my favorite rocks.
I like all things fire.
Yeah. Not to like about fire. I like to play with fire too. Hey, stand makers, thank you so much for that question. And thank you everybody in all of the podcasts before that for all of the questions that were regarding, the identification of the different stones. And so I think we're going to travel into our wheelhouses, the specialty stuff. So that satiates Sandmaker's question.
Theo?
Who wants to go first?
Theo?
Why do I keep getting volunteered?
Because you run an active rock shop that I don't know.
You pretty much do too at this point.
Kind of. I mean, when I can.
Underground.
That's fine. So what do we want to start with? I have stuff. What do we? I don't know where to start. I know, but which stuff? Which of the stuffs is
that in your hand?
To start with? Okay, so I brought some agates to talk about hunting, and again, this is hard because it only really applies to certain areas. Because I know most other agates don't look the way that Montana agates do it. Anyway, though, a lot of people are going to be hunting for these right here, which are your very Oh, hey, Botryoidal!
Hey, look at that!
Prepared.
I didn't even realize. Anyway, you see they're kind of clear. There's a little tiny bit of moss, but these are definitely your most common, and they're the ones that I don't know are most easily identifiable when it comes to Montana agates. But Montana agates are weird, and they get huge. But when they get huge, they no longer look clear like this. Like this one is a great example. They no longer are clear like that. They have tumbled down rivers so far that they have a bunch of fractures along the outside, so they get a rind.
Oh.
No.
So this is a much much higher grade agate than this. But here, actually, I brought this way. Oh gosh, that's bright. Okay.
Oh, if you flash this, I wasn't
The
gonna say that.
entire audience just like
Anyway, you can see how clear that is. There's like
Yeah,
hardly.
brilliant.
This one has a lot of stuff going on in it. And it's wonderful, and it's totally washing out my lens. Well, it was good in theory. Anyway, I'll just send Kyle a picture so he can throw up because, yeah, you can't really see the cracked texture that I'm referring to. But, yeah, that's what you really want to be looking for. The bigger agates, the more valuable agates have that rind on them because they just tumble downstream. Another thing I wanted to talk about was it's a slang term in Montana, but another thing, if you want to find the best agates in Montana, is you have to look for sunburnt agates, which is a weird term that describes this. See that white film over the edge?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what it looks like on the inside. It's just
Okay.
a very, very thin little film, and that sunburn is actually just a tiny little paper thin layer of common opal. And I don't know what causes that. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I'm not even going to guess because I have no idea. But usually the nicest agates that I've ever found have that little sunburn on them. Like you can see, it's a fantastic agate. And again, it's got the rind on the bottom, but then sunburn on the edges. And if you looked at this, just dark, dull, boring rock, you'd never know that it glows like this underneath. Like that is one phenomenal agate. And it's really mossy. I don't know if that's going to show at all. Do you see that band of moss in there? It's so nice. That's such a good one.
So basically, if we go rock hunting with you, you're going to be walking behind us because you're going to be finding all the stuff that we miss.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, also, come Rockhound with me. I want more Rockhound friends that live nearby. I already have a bunch, but I want more. There's never enough. So next, I wanted to just talk about how a lot of people ask me how I know petrified wood between agatized wood, or why I refer to things as agatized wood. So this is a piece of petrified wood. I mean, I don't think anyone would argue that is petrified wood. This is actually a pretty low end piece of petrified wood. Just why I brought it, because it's a great example. So this is agatized wood, and we know this is agatized wood because look at the way that piece of wood is glowing.
Wow. Get the polish out.
Like, I love making slabs out of these because I mean they literally glow the same way an agate does. It's crazy.
Nice.
And I love them so much. So lastly, we've got fossils. I think the biggest question I've gotten across my channel is how I'm able to spot baculites. Like, this is the best example I can give. I actually already cracked this one, so it's like the best example. But
just moments ago.
Oh no, that's a different one.
Oh, okay.
I straight up broke that one. I'll show you that in a minute. But you just find them as these rocks, these lumpy, boring gray rocks. They're all cracked up, and everyone's always asking me, how the heck did I know that there was anything worth in there? Because I can look at this in a glance and know that there's baculites in here. And the reason, I'm probably going to have to send pictures. I keep saying that, but it's true.
Uh-oh.
I doubt you're going to be able to. Oh, actually, you kind of can. You see the little white ring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look, you see those little white rings?
Yeah.
That is actually the cross sections of baculites.
That's cool.
Nice.
So you want to see that white because that white is actually the little remnant of shell layer.
Mm-hmm.
So I can take a glance at any rock in Montana that is, along the Yellowstone anyway, that looks like this. If you see those circles, it's got either a baculite, an ammonite, or a ceramid clam inside of there. I was going to bring an Eno, but I didn't feel like it. I already brought a bunch of rocks. I already had a bunch of rocks.
Is that sedimentary rock, is it really hard or is it a little soft, or what would you say that's?
It's infuriatingly hard, actually.
That looks hard. That's why I'm asking. Like harder than concretions.
It's a nightmare to work with, honestly. Like I'm used to it because they're obviously the only fossils that I work with. But even in other parts of Montana, for some reason, the concretions you find on the Yellowstone, which is one of these, are so much harder than the concretions I'll get out in the Badlands, where I'm getting like more other stuff that's way softer over there. So I don't know what, like, as far as a mineral component makes them so different. But yeah, when I find river fossils, it is honestly a nightmare. These are so sturdy and so hard. And yeah, they end up fracturing, or they're so just solid that if you just sit there at your lowest speed and they still just flake a little bit, it's so stressful. Anyway, though,
Wow.
if you here, I'll do this before I grab those. So if you look, you've got these right here, nice baculites sitting in there. But with my new toy, the fossil scribe, and this is the one I just broke just shortly before starting.
Sorry.
It did look like this. Oh gosh! No, don't fall! Stop breaking more. All right, there we go. Beautiful little trio of baculites. I just watched stuff flake off, and I'm like, no.
That's so cool, though.
Time to get glue out.
You can literally just completely extract those, and it's a nightmare. Like, it's with the river concretions. But yeah, I totally get it. I just wanted to show you guys this. I got sidetracked from explaining how I find them, but
okay, we get sidetracked all the time.
Yeah, that's a good...
I need to polish these because they have some wonderful pearl and sutures.
Wow.
Like this one, if you see that little vein right there.
Yep.
That is yellow calcite, and there's actually like full-blown crystals in there. It's so cool.
Oh,
That's cool.
Oh wait, actually, speaking of, big old calcite pocket right there.
Nice. Yeah.
It's actually part of this baculite right there.
Oh, so they fill up. Oh, that's so cool.
Yep. Baculites fill up the exact same way that ammonites do. Like you've seen ammonites cut in half, and they have all the little calcite bugs inside. Yeah, baculites do that as well. They're so cool. I love them.
That's cool.
They're one of my favorite things in the world.
Nice. Well, thanks for telling us how you do things. And
like I said, I felt like I brought too much and also not enough.
That's the nature of this beast, trying to fill people in on what's out there.
Karen, would you like to go next, or do you want me to go next?
You can go next.
Okay. I guess as far as identification goes, a lot of people know that I kind of spend a lot of time in my shop as opposed to actually going out in the field, which, I will go out in the field at some point. It's just being able to afford to do it and afford to have the free time to do it. Hashtag new family. I'll kind of cover a couple things really quick. But when I have gone out to like creeks or rivers where there's been like agates or petrified wood in there, the biggest thing, I don't have any examples with me at the time, but I usually will, depending on the time of day that I go, will depend on what I look for. If I have the sun on my back, I'll be looking for petrified wood because I can tell that the texture of the wood is different from all the other material that's in the creek or river. But if I have a big brimmed hat on and I have the sun ahead of me, then I can see the glow of agates. So it really depends on which way I'm walking up the creek and river. It will depend on what I spend my time, looking for. Even at the Old Marker Ranch there in Sweet Home, which used to be called the Hollywood Ranch, a lot of times people will go out there, they'll dig, and they'll toss their finds up on out of the hole, or they'll drop pieces they don't want. It's really fun to go out there after a digging season, after it started raining, because I'll wash a lot of things off. That dig site is known to have specialized petrified wood that has, I think it was a halite. I forgot exactly how it's phrased, but it's a halite replaced quartz crystal. So like you can have a cross section of a piece of wood, and you have like little squares in the wood, and it's not found anywhere else.
Wow.
Outside that. And I find them all the time, like whole rounds. The people's like, oh man, this is garbage, and they'll throw it outside. I'm like, yoink. And
I'll take one.
I'll send you one. They're actually kind of cool.
Oh, cool. I was joking, but awesome. Score.
But yeah, a lot of times it's just looking at textures and knowing, like, to be honest, sometimes it can take a couple times if you're going out in the field, if you're going to different places. Go out there the first time, get a idea of kind of the material that's already out there and keep going back, you'll start noticing subtle differences in the material that's out wherever you're going, and it makes it easier every time that you go out looking for rocks, just in general, because you're gonna miss stuff. You are gonna miss stuff the first time around, like hands down. But also at the same time, it helps go people a little bit shorter than you. They can see the ground a little bit easier because they'll find the good stuff.
That's why Alexis always finds the best stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how true it is, but I think I heard it's rumored. I don't know how true this is, but supposedly women can see a broader spectrum of colors than men can, and so they're more apt to see like certain colors of rocks than we are. Again, I don't know how true that is, but I'll have to test that theory out and see if I can either convince Amy to go with me, or when River gets old enough, have her go with me. Like, all right, let's go look for sunstones. You're looking for the red ones, the big ones. But as far as like mineral identification goes, typically here in Oregon, in the more common areas, it's pretty common for agate and petrified wood, and also for obsidian and thunder eggs. We have a lot of it's pretty easy to identify for the most part. But if you ever go to like shows or areas where there's more specimens, I guess you can say, that are more of not your normal stuff, I guess. For example, like the piece of specimenite that I had, that's not your normal rock that you're just going to go out and find. It's either you go to a show or you happen to get invited to go to the mine. Never been there. Don't know how that works.
Right.
I know the camping couple, they got to go, I think, dig where some of the specimenite comes from. But that'd be really cool to go do that. But some of the resources I like to have, I mean, Google can be nice for identification, but you run into a lot of issues where if you're looking for a certain identification, it gets a little bit harder to really search Google, because you can be like, okay, looking for obsidian, or you're looking for amethyst, and you type it in and you get a Steven Universe reference pop up, and it just like floods all the pictures. Like, oh man, this is not helping at all. Get a book. I have brought several books today. I think I might even talked about it in a previous video that I did on my channel. Two of these books, I bought like 4 books. I couldn't remember which one was which, because it has been several years since I've touched one of these books before I bought them again. But the National Auburn Society is one I like, and so is the National Auburn. Oh wait, hold on, I forgot I bought that one, but it's for fossils.
You're like, this one's great.
Congratulations, you have that one.
I literally, like, before the podcast, I went into the shop, and like I went in the cupboard. I like got all my identification books out. I didn't bother to look at which one's which, but I forgot I bought this one too. It's the National Auburn Society Field Guide to North American Fossils. And the reason why I like these books, I'm very much a big child. I like pictures. Pictures help me a little bit easier. But if you guys can see that band right there, that is all colored pages that helps show the different color categories that stones are in. I mean, granted, so, and Jared has actually covered this a little bit in his channel, currently Rockhounding, so here's your shout out.
There's your one every video, it seems like.
Every podcast, there's always one.
But, you can have, oh gosh, I need to, calcite. Calcite's a good example. Calcite can come in very many different shapes and forms of their crystal structures, as well as colors. So, these books can be helpful to a degree, and they do kind of tell you the different kind of colors it comes in. Because if you were to get this book and look through it, it has like the different colors that mineral can be in, and have different categories. But the other reason why I like this is it not only goes over like colors, but it also goes over the crystal structures that mineral can be in. I'm trying to think of a good example. I had a little rock that it was like $5 at a rock shop. I'm like, that looks super cool. It wasn't like super or anything like bright and flashy. It was a very dull rock. And I used these books that kind of helped track down what the mineral was. and it gave me a pinpoint idea of kind of where to go to because it's going off the crystal structure. And so books can be more helpful than Google. Buy a book.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
And go ahead.
I was sorry. And then you do have like other rock and mineral books. So you got Rocks and Minerals, Peterson Field Guides, and then Simon and Schuster's Guide to Rocks and Minerals. Those kind of go over more of like more crystal structures and hardnesses and where they occur, and so they're more detailed. But still having a good collection of different books as references is always a good reference point. And it might even help to have like a hardness testing kit, which again Jared has covered in his videos. So I wish I could afford one, but they're a little spendy. So
You can so viewers, there's actually an infographic, and either maybe we can pop it up or we can send a link to it or something. But there's an easy hack way. I love that. Just drink the spray bottle.
That's the water I have right now in front of me, and it was just like a little bit.
That'll work. But you can use a screw or a pocket knife or glass. There's a lot of things that are just household items that you even might have camping if you want to check a mineral if you're out in the field, or you can even put together yourself a field kit that might not be the high zoot testing kit for. So back in the day, Mo came up with a hardness stratification. So 10 being a diamond, and it comes down to talc, right? And so 10 is the hardest. And was it Mo from like Larry Curly and Mo? Was he testing hardness on like his friend's skulls? Like was that Three Stooges? Okay, maybe not.
There's a different debate for another episode.
Yeah.
The origins of Mo.
Yes, but so like that is super important to bring up if you are trying to identify minerals, is to know that hardness scale. So thanks for bringing that up, Kyle. Yeah.
And I would say, as far as I know, for testing for meteorites, either you can go to Home Depot and get a little piece of tile and rubber rock on there. And I think the more red that it's on there, I think, was it the more iron, or isn't it?
It's a streak, yeah. That's a streak test.
You can always use the underside of your toilet tank. Your lid of your tank if you don't.
I've heard so many people do that.
That's so funny.
Go to a rock shop. The next time you're in a rock shop, ask to use their bathroom and look underneath their toilet tank lid and see if they have little marks.
You know that there's all these streak tests.
Oh, I would almost bet money on that. I know.
Yeah. That's a field trip for y'all out there listening.
If anyone's listening that actually does that, could you let us know in the comments like what you find?
That's incredible. Wow, that's a whole YouTube channel right there.
Right? Dude. Forget fishing. I know what my second channel is about.
There's another one for the rock identification if you are in the Pacific Northwest. This was a new one that came out more recently. And so it has the stuff that is more general, like that Kyle was talking about. But then Kyle was also talking about the different occurrences, and zeolite is like super notorious for having a bunch of different occurrences throughout the state, and it'll show the different pictures of this mineral in the different states that it takes. And so if you've got something that you can hit that's local to you, to your state, that's also super valuable, because sometimes you'll be going through one of those general books and you're like, I don't know. It's not in here. Not at all.
Oh, that reminds me. As far as the books go, I know that Jared had mentioned this before in his channel too, is they use probably the best possible museum specimens for these books. Yep. So the piece you have may not fit in that description, but a lot of the more, the cleavage factor, the cleavage part of the stones, the hardnesses and the other tests you can do might help you figure out what it is. Just kind of keep that in mind. Like, don't get discouraged. Like, oh, it says it's this, but it doesn't look like that. I'm just gonna toss it aside. Like, who knows? You might have a diamond in the rough or a really cool specimen that no one's seen before. So keep that in mind.
Great point. So, does that wrap up your presentation, Kyle?
Yeah. Sorry, I mean, it's going so long.
Oh no, it was great. And so out here on the Oregon coast, people are always pulling me over at the beach, literally, like I'm a stranger and I don't, necessarily like have a sign on my back that I have a rock hounding YouTube channel. And agates, we don't know what we're looking for, And so being here where we're supposed to, like, they know that they're supposed to be finding it. I end up explaining this over and over and over again. And just if you find a thing on the beach, you don't know necessarily like this is the pay dirt that I was looking for. And so I like to explain to people that an agate, that's so clear that it's
Arkenstone. She found the Arkenstone.
Like it's got my hand on fire. If you're a bird, you have to have feathers. And so, that's like the nature of the beast, of the identifier for a bird. For an agate, you're a cryptocrystalline silicate. You're a chalcedony. So not all chalcedonies are agates, but all agates are chalcedonies. You have to have fortification lines. Those are your feathers. And so that's the everlasting gobstopper look to the rock that has the little bands that are inside. Sometimes they're just water lines, and it shows you where the horizon line was when it was setting up, which is so fun. Like, wow.
Yeah, I love finding water lines.
This rock is showing me what the earth, where its gravity was as it was setting up for, however million years. And then I also really like the everlasting gobstopper ones where, it's showing you the entire vug, like the total topography of that vug, like over and over again in different colors. And like so
almost like
go ahead.
I was gonna say it's almost like a tree's rings, but the only difference is like it's not an exact timeline. It's just like, hey, this is the progress that I went through in order for it to form fully. And I think hydros are just the ones that weren't done yet.
Yeah. That's a soft-boiled egg, son. So we call this guy a honey agate on the coast, but this is another thing where, it's colloquial. Like different places are going to call them different things, just like your folks in Montana and whatnot. This is a blue black agate. This is what we also find on the coast. This is just like, usually it's not strong enough, and this one's too strong.
Yeah, I had the same problem.
But you're seeing that, like that blue black, just, that looks opaque. So an agate has to be translucent to transparent. Cryptocrystalline silicates has to have fortification lines and has to be translucent to transparent to be an agate. Otherwise, if you don't have those little indicators that it's a bird, doesn't have the feathers and the beak, then maybe it's a chalcedony. And so, there's all sorts of that out there. I'm not going to cover them because we don't usually find that sort of thing on the beach. We're volcanic usually on my beach. And so they're going to be fortification agates that have been formed in the bugs of the basalt, of the lava flow, the bugs of the basalt. I'm just making stuff up.
Dude, yeah, let's do that. Let's make up our own history for
that. Needs to be a shirt now. The bugs of the basalt.
Yeah, the basalt bugs, it's an attack. They're aliens. This is a piece of petrified wood. And I think that, Theo, you showed a piece of petrified wood as well, right?
I did. And they look so different than yours.
Yeah, right? What?
That's, again, I think it was last week or maybe the week before I mentioned how every single state's petrified wood looks totally different.
Mm-hmm.
This is more visual confirmation of that. That's awesome.
Yeah. We're not all going insane. This is like, again, I think the end of Sandmaker's questions was that, like, there's so many identifiers out there. I'm so confused. Well, this is why petrified wood doesn't mean petrified wood wherever you go. It's just like different looking stuff.
Even in Oregon, like we have like multiple different colors of petrified wood and different varieties too. It's crazy. I mean,
that's petrified wood.
Yeah.
This is petrified
wood.
This is petrified wood. Like what? Oh, yeah. And so this is actually what I'm wearing. This guy right here. This is a beech petrified wood. And just real quick, what we have here, a lot of it, we were talking about petrification, and that's when the cellular structure of the wood gets permineralized with minerals. So
I thought you were going to say something crazy like orange juice.
Right.
It's foreign.
Pre-mineralized with citrus.
And so most of the time the cellular structure is captured in the wood, and that's how come you like, wow, that looks like a block of wood. Well, that's because the silicates came and they replaced the cells, and different time frames might represent different kinds of minerals, and that's why you get the different colors throughout the wood. With the bigger specimen that I was just holding, sometimes you have carbonization too. So something might actually have been burned on its way, or also bogwood, where it gets preserved without petrifying first, turns black. And so
we have a lot of carbonized wood, basically, how we refer to it, because you can see the grain very finely, but they're just like, actually this one is a little bit, see how dark that is? When I cut this, it will be completely black on the inside.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so no, that's exactly like, whoa, that was a big rock.
Just making sure you're all still awake.
Yeah. Yeah, the gong show, right? And so also on the beach, we have a fossil, a lot of people say fossil wood instead of petrified wood, and sometimes they mean it. Whereas with the petrified wood, it's been permineralized. It's petrified. It's a rock. Like Theo was saying before, there's no wood left over. There's a way for wood to mummify, where actually the remainder of the wood is there. And
Virgin
so
Valley.
It's not, what's that?
Virgin Valley is a good example, because a lot of it, you can have wood that is still wood, but it'll have opal on the inside.
This is Virgin Valley. Right. This is like a weird petrified, like probably a root, that I found at the Virgin Valley that did not have. It's really glassy, but there's no precious opal in there.
Oh.
Yeah, it is like every cell has a bunch of glass, and I'm like, I'm gonna cut it until I find opal. I decided not to, because it's a fool's errand. But
what if you drop it by accident and it broke, and then you saw precious opal on the inside? Would you be kicking yourself then?
Should I drop it now?
No, don't.
Just throw it.
It didn't happen.
Just chuck
it. Because I'm willing, man. If it's got opal in it, I want it. And so at any rate, there is both petrified wood and your bogwood and your carbonized wood and your fossil wood all occurring at the beach. And that was actually like the piece that I showed you. And then also we have the teredo wood, which also a lot of times, like the wood that's in the teredo wood isn't totally petrified. It might just be kind of a mummified type situation. And this looks like somebody's like chewed up potato or something. I know. Like
I found a few pieces on the beach, and I just left them.
Really
like, no.
So the teredo wood is the Teredo nivalis shipworm that bores through the wood and leaves all of these casings behind. And that's how come it looks, they call it peanut wood. Also, you can see the casings very well in this particular specimen.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And so sometimes the wood wears away, and that's how come, you're seeing the casings more than the wood. And other times you get like super, like, of course, all my really good specimen I couldn't find this talk tonight, so I'll just do a video later. But and so hopefully, like, if you're looking for this stuff, like, that's an identifier, like, does it have, what's the difference between the thing I was looking at, a regular stone? Does it have those little circles? Does it have lines that looks like there was a piece of wood there before? These are ways for you to go, that's not just a regular beach stone, that actually might be the teredo wood, because that was like, probably the teredo is the thing that most people, like, once they find out that I might know there are rocks on the beach, they'll come up to me and be like, what's this? Why? Because it's kind of neat to find. And then there's also limb casts. And so, just staying in the wood genre. And so if a piece of wood is on its way to getting, say, petrified, and something happens, or if it gets burned out, whereas there's a bunch of sedimentary rock and the actual wood either burns or what's the word I'm looking for, just like, goes away with the earth's environment, decays.
Decays.
Yes.
Sorry, we really did not throw you a rope at all right there. Kyle and I were both just staring.
My brain was like loading.
So then the silicates might form inside, and then just make the casting of the wood. And so it's just agate inside, but the wood has been completely cast around the outside. Most of the time, the specimens that you find at the beach will be rounded because they're getting tumbled by the ocean. And so you might think that you have like a regular agate, but actually it might be part of a tree. And a lot of times there's going to be vestiges, like, like maybe it's a branch connection or something like that. And then lastly, but not least, we have all the fossils that we find. And so a lot of times they just start off like this. And so
concretions.
Yeah. Did you explain to folks what a concretion was before, Theo? Do you want to now?
Man, it's late. It's okay. A mud ball with a bunch of living things inside of it that aren't living no more, that form because they're not living no more.
Yeah, basically it's a
long story short.
I love it.
Sorry.
I was just getting on it. It's basically a chemical process that causes the sand and stuff to kind of bind to the decomposing. Yep. And sometimes if you crack a concretion open, sometimes that process will happen, but there's nothing in the concretion.
Yep.
Right.
And which is kind of funny if you think about it. It's like, all right, there's something in here, and like there's nothing in there. Like, oh, well, okay.
Actually,
then.
That's how septarians in Montana form. That's how our septarians form. Is same way that fossil concretions do. It's just they're slowly turning into, they're like feeding the calcite growth basically inside of the stone, and as they actually erode away all the way, you'll be left with cavities, but there's so much calcium injected into that void that the crystals just slowly grow over time, and it's crazy. So yeah, every septarian in Montana that we find was a fossil concretion at some point, but way long ago.
That's cool that it's got kind of like a multitude of different histories there.
Yeah
that is cool.
Nice. So some of the concretions, like, again, what Kyle just said, some of them are empty. So does anybody know if something's in here? No, nobody does, except for the little guy that's in here. If he is. Right?
If he is.
If he is.
Should we call that
if he's not in there, he doesn't know it.
Should we call that Schrodinger's rock?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it
okay, who's got the cesium atom?
I'm writing down names as we're going. So far, we have Bugs of the Vasalt and Schrodinger's rock.
Wow. This is great for titles. And so I know some of you out there watch Mam Lambo find his fossils, and usually he's finding something bigger, and it's because he can see that there's marks on the outside of the rock, like all the way around, going like, you know what? Something's in there. A little bit better of a guess than this one that's just like perfectly round. Although how many perfectly round rocks do we have? That's one indication. So we pick up the big round rocks. You can't see it. Oh no, it's right there. There's that one rock.
Do we need to make that a video where I need to come over and help crack that open?
Or I might just take it to you, Kyle.
Oh, that's true too.
Yeah, that's yours though. You did know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wait, there.
I mean, what? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be a super fun opening. And then there's the ones that so like just a regular old rock, doesn't matter, but some of the bone might be coming out for you, right? So wow.
With that bone do you think that would take a polish?
This? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I could go ahead and take the rest of this out, I think, if I wanted to, but I really, really like this specimen.
I'll say polish that nub there in the top.
Mammal vert of some kind, but that's I'm kind of in love with that. That's going to stay under my pillow for a while. I might polish it at some point. I've got a lot of them. So folks, like if you're walking along and you see something that looks porous, you might want to pick it up. This is a bone. This would take just as good of a polish. It just wouldn't be a specimen. You would be making like some gem bone out of it if you wanted to. And so this kind of stuff, if you saw my last video, I picked up a really spectacular, rounded, almost polished piece already out of the tide pools. It blew my mind. Yeah. And so some of it is ready already. And then the other stuff you get to prepare. And so some of them are just anybody's guess. It's like, it's a beach stone. You hit it, you hit yourself with it, whatever. And so, yeah, that's some of the rock tour on the beach. So if you go down to the beach, bring a light with you so that you know if it's an agate. Jagates and jaspers are good too. And so, if you think it's pretty, pick it up and take it. 1 gallon a day, 3 gallons a year.
Yeah, mind your limits and do research on like where you're going too, because last thing you need is if you post something online anywhere and you have people berating you for taking more than what you're allowed. You can be like, well, look, I'm following the rules. Are you?
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely good advice because you don't want to get in trouble.
No. Yeah. So like finders that find too much stuff, give it to somebody who looks like they're having trouble. Mm-hmm. That's what I always do. Because a lot of times I have a hard time not picking up that darn agate that's smiling up at me. But then, I'd need another beach agate like the size of a quarter, like a hole in the head. And so I'm just going to go drop it on some kid that's like, wow, go do a solid.
Or even walk in front of them and just have a hole in your pocket and just drop it out without them noticing. So it gives them.
Make sure they get it though.
Yeah. Circle around and make sure they got it.
Keep on dropping it.
I saw the same rock 20 feet back that way. How did I get over here?
That's so weird.
Well,
yeah, but that's it.
I guess this might be good way to start going into finds of the week, and then after that, words of wisdom. So let's go ahead and start with you, Karen.
Yeah. So a really dear friend came back from Nevada, and she brought back some chalcedony that occurs there, and it's got some of the most amazing stuff going on. That's dendritic, and it's got ribbons of different colors going through it. And so it actually looks a whole lot like a map sometimes. And then
it's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
I want one.
It's just, it blew my mind. Every single one, there's no way to see all the crazy ribbons that are going through this one, but they're different colors. I'll send a good picture to Kyle. But, I had to learn something new when she hooked me up, I think that Jesse of Rookie Rock Hounding talked about a curiosity list. And so the finding out about it makes you want to know more, and the more that you find out about it, the more interested you get, and it's like this wonderful curiosity loop, and I loved that. And so I looked
Yes,
it up
absolutely.
with the whole yes. And I think
Seriously.
that all of us are addicted, all of you guys out there too, I'm sure. So with the help of Geo Rock Nerd, I found out about the lice gang bands. I think that's what they're called, or lice gang rings. And it's just a way that different rocks form with those ribbons and those bullseyes and the different banding that happens. It seems impossible, but it's about like its porosity and the way that it has the valence of iron turning different colors with different infusions of water. Just like, woo,
That's
super
cool.
neat. And so anyways, that's my find of the week.
Nice.
Next.
Theo, I'll have you go next.
This one is my find of the week. I found this one with Travis on Monday. And you will see it again soon in an upcoming video. Oh, come on, stay on. This is a wonderful, wonderful agate, and it's amazing, and I love it.
That's the sunburn agate, right?
That is the sunbird agate.
Nice. What about your?
I was
Is
going to
this
say,
show and tell too, or?
Oh, this is one part of show and tell. This was find of the week, show and tell A, but the main part of show and tell is actually non-physical. It's too small to bring because there's no way I could show it.
I'll enter it right here.
Yeah,
Tell us about
right here. Okay, so look at that. Anyway. Oh, look at that.
That's amazing.
Isn't it true? Yeah, it's too small to bring. It's just too little to actually show on this little camera up here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I set upon one of my really, really nice amethyst. It's a piece of a cathedral, and I was looking at the big, nice glass clear, dark purple amethyst in there, and I'm like, man, that's a waste of just some prime material just sitting there. I'm going to cut into it. I want to get those crystals out of there. And I did. And life is good. We have lots of very nice amethyst to work
They
with.
look
So
good.
You don't stumble upon like just royal purple and just so perfect. Like they have no problem. Actually, that was great tie back to talking about gem quality. In my experience, anyway, I'm sure there are others that have gotten crazier stuff than that. But in my experience, those are some of the highest gem quality amethyst I've ever gotten to work with. Like they're so nice, great clarity, and just such deep color. So awesome. And I didn't do a video on it because I was just winging it. So maybe I need to cut another one. So I'd say I'd show you the process.
Well, sometimes you gotta have to have like secret sessions. Sometimes, if it's like a sketchy opal, or if it's like a super exciting thing, you're like, I can't bother with the camera.
I just forget because it's, I just gotta get work done some days.
And there's that.
Yeah.
That
I usually record everything, but some days it's like I don't have enough time to worry about this right now.
I get it. But yeah, that was
not long.
Oh, that
sorry, I had a spouse staring at me. Hello, Alexis.
It
was weird.
I saw something fall behind me. I'm like, what?
Oh, dude, did we catch a ghost live?
I think what it was is when I think before the podcast, I was showing Karen, I was showing you guys both the opal I had that my friend got me, and I was holding up the box of rocks like right where my thumb's at. But for it to wait an hour and 45 minutes to fall over, no, it's not a ghost. I'm not worried about it. As long as the ghost doesn't bother me in my sleep. When I do happen to sleep, that's all I care about.
You're safe most of the time.
Yeah. Could you imagine like a ghost like trying to scare me? I'm just like dead asleep, and the ghost like boo, and just like leaves because it gets fed up. Just yeah. But I guess my find of the week is this chunk of fire obsidian, which I'll put some pictures in here because one, this piece has not been polished; it's rough cut. But I want to polish it and kind of so people can see a little bit better. and I do need to do some exploratory cutting, just because with the fire obsidian, the layers are not straight across. A lot of times the layers can dome, they can go any which way, and trying to get a good cut on the fire obsidian can be really hard, because I've had pieces where it's a beautiful color, but it has a divot, and you can't just polish the stone with a divot, because with fire obsidian you just don't get that cool iridescent effect. It has to either be a dome or be flat. And so this one, like, some of the layers, I'll post a picture too, but some of the layers are they're going this way, and which is fine, but I can't just go underneath those layers to get that color out. But I was a little disappointed to only find really one good piece out of the whole several 100 pounds of obsidian. I think
they're tragic. I shouldn't be laughing.
It was that thing too. It's like that was like right off the bat, like right as I get done like starting sorting everything. It's like, oh sweet, I found it, and like it fueled me and kept going, and I kept going, and I kept going, and that's like, I think whoever had this before the previous owner knew what they had, and they've already set aside what was worth something. I did find some kind of gold sheen obsidian pieces that have like little layers of fire in there, but those are kind of more specimens. Kind of show like, yeah, you can get fire obsidian in different varieties in that area, but it's not really worth trying to extract out of the stone, just because it takes too much time and you have a chance of losing that color. So it's more of a specimen. And sometimes the fire obsidian layers, say you have two different layers, they can actually cross each other. And so then you have to kind of pick and choose which layer do you want to extract, because either you can have a cool green and blue one, or you can have one that's like red and orange. Like, which one do you want? Because you can't have both.
Green and blue. Totally.
Yeah, that was my fine. So we can go ahead and go on to words of wisdom. Karen, what you got?
I'm unprepared, so like
always unprepared.
Yeah, I'm back to like I like Theo's one about not eating junk food that one time.
Yeah, eat healthy.
Yeah.
Wear good shoes.
Yeah, yeah. Although, actually, my words of wisdom are going to go like flying in the face of that statement. Today, like it was muggy and hot at I think 67 degrees on the beach. It was overcast, but it was so hot at 67. I went for I went for a beach run with Lily the dog. If you've seen the videos, you abundantly know who that is. Oh man, I just went down there in flip-flops. I chucked them on the headwall rocks, and I just went for a run barefoot in the water. And it was, you know what? Sometimes don't wear shoes. That was so freaking liberating. It was so good. Yeah. So.
Dude, running barefoot in like soft materials feels awesome.
Yeah, and splashy in the water and everything.
Yeah, I wouldn't apologize for that either.
Yeah, that's my words of wisdom. Chuck the shoes sometimes.
Right, exactly.
Theo, what you got?
I don't have any words of wisdom.
It's too late.
I'm not wise tonight, Kyle.
Nothing about Bitcoin or anything.
Careful where your money goes.
Keep your eyes open for the next big cryptocurrency. It has to do with rocks, right?
Rock
one. Honestly, I really don't have much this week. My brain is so tired, and I stayed up way too late last night, so I'm extra tired, and it's late, which means I'm starting to check out mentally. So I guess my words of wisdom, which may contradict our entire episode of identification, is don't worry so much about finding the what and just worry about the finding.
Yeah.
That's actually really good. I like that.
I love it. Yeah. You hit it out of the park, even though you're tired.
Good job. I think we're all a little tired.
Yeah.
Just for those that are watching, like we record this Thursday night in order to be released Friday evenings, and so which means when these two lovely people get offline, I stay up a little bit later to do all the editing. So I mean, luckily for a lot of videos can be super easy for editing, so I don't have to stay up as late. But my goal is to always make sure that I don't end up tired as these kind folks here. So, but I guess that'd be my words of wisdom is to try to manage your time in your life and rest. I mean, I will probably contradict myself quite often because I'm most often in bed anywhere between midnight and 2 a.m. and I'm up by 6 o'clock the next morning. So I'm working on. I actually went to bed at 11 o'clock last night, and I woke up at 5. So my body's like, well, you went to bed early, so I guess you're going to have to get up early. So this is what dawn feels like. But yeah, just manage your time in your life, and if you're feeling that you're overwhelmed and getting to the point where you're getting stressed out, because we all have that. I have that. I'm sure Karen and Theo also have that going on. Just take a step back, take a break. Things will be there when you get back, and mental health is definitely important. And if you have vacation, and if you're listening to this at work during work hours, that's great. If you have vacation hours to take time off, do it.
Yeah.
Because you can't take those vacation hours most of the time if you ever go to a different job. I mean, or if you get hurt or injured, just take a vacation. It's going to be worth it. I promise. Take a vacation, turn off your phone, so no one can call you and interrupt you at home. Because we live in a society now that nobody will go knock on your door when they want something. Think about that for a second.
Yeah, it's true.
Remember those days, though? Go over to your friend's house, knock on the door. Can Billy play? Not anymore. It's now like, okay, cool. I don't have to put on pants today.
Yeah.
I'm a weird age because I grew up in both those eras, actually.
Yeah, well, same here.
Like, I'm a weird demographic, yeah, because I remember going to my friend's house and phones weren't like something we even thought about. And then during like, I don't know, middle school and high school, we all had cell phones. So it was like a little bit of both, honestly.
I didn't have a cell phone until I was 18, 19, somewhere in there.
My parents knew I was all over the place, so I didn't have a phone. They had no way of knowing where I was at any given time.
I liked those days, actually.
Freedom at all times.
Yeah.
I have not. Where was I? I don't know.
I guess it's good as mine.
Yeah.
I guess I'll wrap up words of wisdom, really. Karen, do you want
to?
Yeah. Karen, do you want to take us out?
Sure. We'd like to thank all of you for making it all the way to the end with us tonight. Thank you so much. Hopefully we illuminated some rocks for you and maybe offered some more questions for you guys to ask. So definitely do so in the comments. Also, if you have any ideas for us for future podcasts, like some questions that you want us to ask or answer in the future, and some guests that you might want us to have on that we haven't had on yet, please leave those in the comments. And we thank you so much.
Or even guests that you want back.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've got some of those planned, but yeah, let us know. We do your bidding too.
Also, if you have a guest that's, I don't know, let's say, let's use Bill Nye, for example. If anyone watches Bill Nye stuff and you guys want to spam his videos with comments of like, hey, if you like rocks, go check out the Rockhound Podcast. Can you be a guest on there?
Everyone, go Twitter bomb Bill Nye right now.
Yeah, Bill Nye, Bobby Duke.
Bobby Duke, dude! Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I would lose it. I would lose my cool if we got Bobby Duke.
Yeah, if there's anyone you guys want to see on there, recommend it, or even just go to your favorite YouTube channel that you'd like to see on here that you think would fit within the niche for us to talk about. Go in there and to their videos and be like, hey, I like your stuff. Reach out to these people. I'm sure they would like to talk to you, ask some questions. But yeah, that's all I had.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, that
Yep.
is your mission if you
Yep.
choose to accept it.
So actually, everyone go Twitter bomb Bobby Duke instead.
Right.
Dude, that's
Say
like
Theo
my
sent
personal
you.
hero number one. It's like,
Right.
make it happen, fans. Please. Podcast fam. There. I'm a
So-
real YouTuber. I
We
said
should-
fam.
Now, I will try my best to avoid using
That is the first time I have ever said it. And it's probably the last.
But we should have. I mean, I wish we could have a poll. Be like, who do you think will have the biggest nerd out if we had Bobby Duke on here,
Oh, dude.
and see who think would have the biggest nerd out. I think that we already all know, but
Dude, I
It
would
still be fun to
literally
take a poll.
be schoolgirling if we got Bobby Duke on here.
TV.
Like straight up, no, like I'm talking like 60s Beatles coming to America, like
Like,
yeah, like passing out from excitement. Okay, like Bobby Duke is one of my biggest 3 reasons that I even made a YouTube channel. So I keep doing this. I'm sorry, guys. Super sidetrack. Got me talking about Bobby Duke, and I got excited.
It's okay, Bobby Duke. If you're watching this, let us know if you like rocks and want to hang out with us.
We love you, and you're my hero.
friends.
Sorry, Karen. Go ahead and continue on with taking us out of here.
I think that was just about it. So thanks so much for coming tonight, and we'll hope to see you next week. And rock on for Kurt. Thanks so much.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.